What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to Park to Prem. Today is episode 133. Andrei Shvetsov is listed as our key player. We are making weird progress. I don't know if that's weird progress. We've definitely been here before. But yeah, great to see him listed now as our key player. Now, to be honest, this year he has become the key player. You can't really escape it. But today we have a live com doubleheader. We have a first game against Sociedad. That is going to be to conclude the Champions League group stage. Going to be a huge game for us. I believe we are at home for it. Of course, this group is very much all up in the air. In the last set of games, I talked about it last episode, obviously, because we were playing Dortmund and Sociedad were playing Juventus, and I really started celebrating the fact that Juventus had scored in the last minute, which, in hindsight, wasn't the right thing to do, everyone, because if Sociedad had beaten Juventus, we would have qualified. Yeah, because our head-to-head results against Juventus were better, so even if they beat Dortmund, we would have been fine. As things stand, it's still a little in the balance today, so I'm going to begrudgingly admit that Cancina goal, as happy as I was about it, it wasn't the right thing to be happy about. So, Claudio, what are you doing, son? What are you doing? You've let us down there. But anyway, we've got that game, and then we're going to be taking on Norwich in the league. A bit of a surprise package. They currently sit second. We'll come on to them in just a second, because first and foremost, we have made a few new signings for the future. Moutinho is going to be joining us from Santos. Big money transfer. He has really good mentals and really good defending for a 16-year-old. His physicals definitely need to improve, but they definitely will improve. He's only 16 years old. He will get a bit tougher. He will get a bit taller, more physical, bulk out, I suppose. And yeah, definitely a bright spot for the future. But at £9 million, not the smallest of transfers. The big thing was, I had the money to do it, and the money was burning a hole in my pocket, I'll be honest. Anyway, another player we were talking about just last episode that I decided to sign is Pauletti. He is another right-back. He looks pretty good. He's 18 years old. One for the future. Again, with these players, of course, I'm buying them knowing that not all of them can play right-back in my team. I'm fully aware before someone says, Jack, you've got 7 right-backs. It's about trying to make some money. We don't have a huge stadium that brings in 60,000 fans a year. Realistically, if I want to maintain over the next decade, competitiveness against the big teams around us, selling players is absolutely where that has to come from. And I don't want to have to sell my star first team players. I want to be selling my sloppy seconds. That's always the way you want to go. Sell your sloppy seconds, everyone. That's advice to get you through life. Anyway, Shvetsov is listed, as I've already said, as our key player, but Sammy Tonel, our youngster, produced at our academy a few years ago now. He's slowly but surely improving. I'm currently training him to play complete wing-back. He was more naturally an attacking midfielder. You can see he can also play centre mid. He's a very, very versatile player, and in fact, and I don't know if this is just me, but from time to time, my training just resets. Is that just me? Does that happen to anyone else? It's never individual focus. It's always the position, role and duty stuff. It's not like I have my staff telling me what to do. Either way, Tonel is still improving, so I guess I should just be happy about that. But yes, one for the future, the 18-year-old Frenchman. Before we get into today's episode, I do want to just talk about the competitiveness of our under-23s and under-18s, because it's something that I don't really talk about a great deal. But it is definitely just worth acknowledging the fact that our academy teams do generally do very, very well. Now, the under-23s has suffered a little bit in recent years due to loanings out. But if we just look at the Professional Development League here, you can see the last 2 years we have won the Under-23s League, which is pretty impressive. Now, it's worth noting that we are not playing with all the Premier League big boys in these Under-23 groups. I'm not sure how we're invited to the big leagues, so if someone wants to enlighten me, I would love to know. But either way, you can see here, in terms of the Under-23s, the last 2 years we have won the league, which is obviously very nice to be able to see. In the EFL Trophy, if we just look at it, of course, our under-23s playing the EFL Trophy. They've never won it, but I believe we lost in the final once upon a time. Let's have a look. Past winners. Yeah, we lost in the final to Arsenal's under-23s a couple of years ago. And, of course, we won the competition ourselves not that long ago. It's kind of funny, the idea that in 5 years we could have gone from winning the competition ourselves to our under-23s winning it. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Fortunately, they are through the group stage of that competition. So, yeah, it's weird, right? Because our under-23s is very, very good. We've got some great players here, of course. You'll notice a few first-team players here who I've just got made available for the under-23s to get match fitness. But certainly when you look across this team, there are players for the future who definitely will be breaking into the first team, you would like to believe. Players like Madi Medipur, who's one of our Iranian youngsters who we signed, who we haven't loaned out recently. Of course, Guy Ford, a big transfer, this guy. Already showing really good signs of development. We paid £15 million for him in the summer. I'm very excited. And then, of course, you look back at the under-18s. Now, of course, our under-18s doesn't benefit in the same way as our under-23s, because a lot of the players we're signing, they join the club when they're 18, so they can never play in this team. But in terms of, I guess, this team's performance, if we just have a quick look at their fixtures, and then the under-18s Premier League, going very strong in this competition as well. And this is with the big boys. This is with the likes of Everton, Liverpool, Manchester United, you know, some of the more established academies. And if we just look at histories and past winners, well, we've not won anything yet. But we're working towards it. The under-18s Premier League is a tough competition, but we are top right now, albeit by only 3 points. And I did mention it, but I'll mention it again. Over the summer this year, I made a conscious effort to go out and look at all the intake players that had gone through other teams in the Championship and League One and signed some of the better prospects from those teams. So you have players like Danny Faulkner here, who we signed from Stoke City. You know, he's 16 years old. He can join us before he's 18 because he's based in the UK. £1.7 million paid. It's not a small amount of money. I'm hoping he's going to live up to that potential. But that definitely has benefited us this year. It's just been, you know, signing some of the best youngsters from teams outside of ourselves and then watching them develop. That said, a lot of these players are just products of our academy, which I guess is a nice little bonus to be able to say. How many of them will break into the first-time team? It's hard to really say. I must just draw a little attention to Graham Blanford, of course, one of our big hot prospects. He's currently on loan at Coventry City. He's not playing as much first-team football as I would like at our affiliates. But our affiliates, Coventry, if we just take a look at them, newly promoted to the Championship, look at them go. Yes, Coventry, yes. I mean, they are being carried by Roberto Gonzalez, one of our youngsters that we've loaned them, who is probably, when you look at him, he's probably a little bit too good for the Championship in hindsight, but he's been doing the business for them, and he's slowly but surely carrying them up the league. Predicted to finish 21st. They are on course to maybe get a playoff spot, which would be a really cool achievement for them. Also, Ricky Williams, our former player, top goal scorer in the league. The fact he's top goal scorer in the Championship kind of makes me feel like selling him was the right thing to do, especially when you consider we got £22 million for him a couple of years ago now. But anyway, that's just a little update on the youth teams. I know people ask about that quite a lot, and to be honest, it's not something I delve into in loads of detail, how our youth team are performing in cup competitions. I'm much more concerned about the development of the youngsters rather than the team's performances, but I do feel like from time to time it's worth just acknowledging how far we have come. But anyway, let's get into today's game against Sociedad. Of course, if the results of the last kind of matches have been slightly different, we could already be through. As things stand, we know that we need a draw and that would be enough. If we were to lose this game, we are then looking at Dortmund, who haven't won yet in the group stage, to hopefully get us a win to save us and will help us out. Anyway, in terms of team news for today's game, I'm going to bring back in Rote back into the team. He's been out injured for a little while. I've not rushed him back because Marlon Ox, to be honest, has looked very good at left back. However, in the last 5 games, Marlon Ox's performances, I don't want to say they've fallen off a cliff. They've kind of lost the gravitational pull of Earth and flown out into space. It's been that bad. So with him not really performing, Rout is going to come back in. But the rest of the team looks pretty much full strength, which is what you want to say. Auger back as well. And I'll tell you what, Auger has improved a little bit this year. You know, he's slowly but surely getting there. I know there was big pressure on his price tag. I guess his Premier League average rating of a 7.31 is not really to be scoffed at. That is actually incredible run of form for a centre-back. But yeah, he is going to be holding down positions alongside Soretta, who, I mean, look how good Soretta is, man. Look how good this kid is. He's unreal. And I love him because he's either-footed and a perfectionist, just like me. As talented as me, dare I say. Anyway, let's get into today's game. Turnbull back in the team. I did give Norman a little run out. I haven't talked about it. I'll talk about it after this game because I'm just too nervous about the Champions League. We'll talk about the one game we had since we were last here. It was in the Premier League, but I feel like it makes more sense to talk about as we go into that game against Norwich. And well, let's get into this. I am going to tell the players, I have got faith in you. Have they got faith in themselves? We're about to find out. At home, though, we're going to play the positive system. It served us well in the last couple of games. I don't want to say we got FM'd when we lost against Sociedad 2-0 in the reverse fixture of this group stage where we played them away from home. But we did get a little FM'd. So, with all of that in mind, today, we're just going to stay on the front foot. We're going to go for the throat, and hopefully we take our chances today, because that was kind of where everything fell apart Anyway, Andre trying to get the ball into the box. Hernandez, though, blocks it, and now will try and launch a counter-attack. Soretta wins it. So now with Rout, who is a left-back, I will just remind you, as he wanders way out onto the right-hand side, but gives it to Mateus Aurelio. Now with Andre, lovely build-up play here. Andy Eric dinks it in. Shvetsov, you've got to hit the target there, my friend. Don't just applaud. Don't just applaud. That annoys me so much. Player misses a sitter and they start applauding the crowd. And the cross in. No. No, if you were really grateful for that cross, you'd put it in the back of the net. And I won't take any other answer as a correct answer. Anyway, Soretta winning another header. Leskinen, of course, back in the team now. Sorry, Kevin Kaiser. It's not happening. And while Mateus Aurelio down the wing, I mean, that's better, isn't it? Mateus Aurelio with another assist for his scrapbook. I feel like Aurelio is getting lots of assists this year whenever we do a live com. If I live com every game, maybe he'll score every game. Or not score every game, assist every game. Lovely finish by Shvetsov as well, as much as I've just berated him for his previous miss. Look at that! Oh, it's like he wound up. And then he just unleashed all that energy. And, the ball was destined for the back of the net. As soon as it hit his boot, there was no chance of the keeper stopping that. Could we get another straight from kickoff? That would help me relax my nerves. After last episode, I feel like anything's possible in terms of big, goal-scoring wins. We were rampant, although we do need to stay alert defensively here as we miss a tackle. Ball whipped in. Rote. Your boat gently down the stream, merrily. Sociedad have made it 1-1, and it's for a player called Arayai. That's not his name. I'm thinking of Ai from Super Monkey Ball. No, how would you say that name? Arayal? I don't know. he's got his first of all. It doesn't matter, although he is quite good. It doesn't matter. He's not our player. I'm never going to have to say his name again. We'll call him II, from Super Monkey Ball. I feel like that is a better name. I'm sorry to any Spanish listeners who are now just scratching their heads, thinking, what the hell is he talking about? It's one of those days, folks. I'm off the rails. I've gone rogue. Anyway, Leskinen whips in. Shvetsov heads it in the direction of Munoz, who holds on to it. Of course, just as a reminder, a draw would be enough here. Although, we look like we want the win with all these attacks, and well, if we could stop hitting it over the bar, that would be nice. 1-1, 20 minutes gone, but we have been dominant in this game. However, as we learnt last time we played them, you can dominate a team for the entire game. It don't mean diddly squat if you don't get the win. Apparently Rot's made lots of mistakes today. Don't tell me this. I've made the bold call to bring him in because Marlon Ox hasn't been playing very well. Maybe we could bring in Deacon at left back at half time. That's probably the go-to sub. Anyway, Matasevic, could you win the ball here? No, unfortunately, Sociedad knocking the ball around quite nicely at the moment in these wide areas. They go back to Hernandez, now with Dominguez, Barbero. Look at these little triangles they're forming. If we could win the ball here, though, they could be in trouble. And, well, we'll look to break away now through Andy Eric, bringing the ball forward, passes it through to Dylan Turnbull, who hits it. Might be offside. But what a great finish that was. He actually bent it. You could tell it was a bit of a finessed shot into the bottom corner, which makes the fact it's been ruled out even more disappointing. But let's just enjoy this finish anyway. On his weaker foot, I mean, that's such a good finish. That's really sad. Oh, take down the tone at FM with just... I feel like if I was a linesman, if a pretty goal was scored, I just wouldn't raise my flag. It's also why I'm not going to ever be a professional linesman. But, yeah, be aware. Anyway, the guy whose name I said I would never have to say again is down the wing, and he's causing us problems. He's whipped it in, and... Morrigan? Hands? Catch? That's just gone through him. It wasn't even a powerful header. Well, I'm glad that we're turning into a charity case because both of Sociedad's goal scorers hadn't scored before today's game. Oh, that's Morrigan. That's definitely a mistake, isn't it? You can't really kind of brush that under the carpet. That's a mistake. Anyway, it's probably going to be worth having the league table and latest scores on at this point because we do need now to nervously stare over at the Juventus game, which will be going on. And they're currently 0-0 against Dortmund. So as things stand, even if we were to lose this, we would go through. Although Shvetsov is saying, Jack, why are you looking at these permutations? I want goal 22 for the season. I think last year he got 23 goals in all competitions, Shvetsov. He's on 22. It's not even blooming Christmas yet. Ball whipped in, nodded down. Little bit of kind of, what would you call that? Just keepy-uppy between Shvetsov and Turnbull, just heading it between one another. And then a great little finish by Shvetsov. Superb technique there. Of course, it is in our interest to at least draw this game so that we get a top spot in the group. Just because that would guarantee us a draw against the team who finished second in their group stage, which, whilst not guaranteed, usually means that you will play a slightly lesser opposition. Anyway, Andre, Mateus Aurelio on the overlap. Can he get the ball pulled back? He can. To Andre, who hits it. What a lovely, lovely goal. And all these permutations we were worrying about, they can go out of the window now. As things stand, Juventus will go through ahead of Sociedad due to their head-to-head result. There is a small part of me that now wants to draw this so that Sociedad can make it through, because I feel like they deserve to make it through. I don't really like head-to-head results as a way of sorting things. I think goal difference all the way. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. Anyway, half an hour left. I'm going to get a little bit shouty, but what a good team performance this has been thus far. It's a shame that we've conceded 2, but going forward, we've scored some really, really nice goals, and well, I feel like there might be a few more to come. Andy Eric is bringing it forward. Threads through Turnbull. What a superbly weighted ball that is. Can Dylan score? Of course Dylan can score. We've taught him to run around goalkeepers. He opens up the angle, makes that finish for him that little bit easier, and he strokes it home. Andy Eric, this pass here, the waiting on this pass, oh, superb. Dylan Turnbull burst of pace to get him behind. And he just puts it into the bottom corner. It's 4-2. The goal-scoring fiesta continues here at Towlaw. Could we get 5? Leskinen whips it in. Turnbull's there. That's a little tribute back to the first half where we couldn't hit the target from set pieces. You may remember it well. Matasevic hasn't had the best of games here. I'm going to take him off. I'm going to bring in McCassie. Rout has not had a good game. I'm going to bring in Deacon for him. I have got one last sub in my back pocket. Do I want to do it? No, I don't. We're going to save it. We're going to play it safe. It's only a 2-goal cushion. Despite how dominant we've been and the fact I really can't see Sociedad scoring another 2 in the last 10 minutes, I'm going to be sensible, everyone. And I hope you can be proud of me for that. As the ball's launched forward, and Dylan Turnbull just scores that. Okay. Mateus Aurelio, by the way, hat-trick of assists in today's game. This is the Towlaw that teams are scared to face. The one that just does rugby line-outs into the 6-yard box. And Turnbull just nods it on in off the post. A satisfying finish. 5-2. Job's done. Game, set and match. We're finishing top of our Champions League group. And that's a nice little bit of revenge, because we did lose to Sociedad 2-0 away from home. We dominated the game. It was one of those weird matches where you kind of lose and don't really know how. But we've looked very good. I mean, could we get 6? Could the embarrassment get, even worse for them? McCassie off the bench to Deacon, who's off the bench. They're fresh. They should be running the show. And while they are, oh my word. I mean, that would have been perfect, wouldn't it? Right on cue as I said that, as McCassie smashes it wide. But what a great performance that is. 2 goals for Shvetsov, 2 goals for Turnbull as well. Turnbull picking up man of the match. Coming back from behind as well. We were down in that game. It's worth remembering. Obviously, it feels like a distant memory. In the end, Juventus and Dortmund drew. So we could have lost that game and we still would have made it through. Good little performance though. We're through to the first knockout round. We've been awarded a nice little bit of money. Cancina played the 90 minutes for Juventus, which is obviously great to see. I really need him to get a work permit, don't I? I mentioned it last episode. 22 days, and then I can harass the Home Office with an email saying, please just give him a work permit. I'll attach a tape of his performances as of late for Juventus, I think. Anyway, we've not got a long turnaround here. I actually need to rest the players for a couple of days going into our next game. We are taking on Norwich City. Now, Norwich City, a surprise package. Apparently, Manchester City are chasing Andre. I mean, you bid £160 million in the summer and I rejected it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what offer you table come January, if that is a real news item, Manchester City. I will say, Manchester City, obviously, they're a dominant force in this league and they've been really, really blooming good. But they are about to have a major problem, which I realised recently. And it's the fact that if you look at players with contracts expiring in a year, they've got Phil Foden with a contract expiring, Vinicius Jr., Kai Havertz, Marcus Antonio is another one of their big youngsters whose contract's expiring. Dest's contract's expiring. Manchester City have gone under Zidane's reign I don't want to say Sir Alex Ferguson last season, but I kind of do mean that. And what I mean is Sir Alex Ferguson, in my opinion, and I'm going to rustle a few feathers, I'm sure, or ruffle a few feathers. I think he focused on winning in his last couple of seasons over United rather than leaving a club that someone else could pick up and do well with. And when you look at this team, and you look at the players with contracts expiring in a year, a lot of their more experienced players' contracts are all going to be expiring at once, including Kylian Mbappe. They signed him on a free transfer from PSG. He's done quite well since he's joined them, but he has only got this year left on his contract. I mean, will they sign him onto a new contract? He's on so much money. It is worth, I guess, acknowledging the fact that despite the fact they've got all these players on big money, not all of them are playing super regularly in the first team. However, when you look at it, I mean, 4 of them are in the starting 11 and are 33 or over. And then on the bench, you've got, Kai Havertz, Upamecano, and also Foden. They're like not insignificant players to be losing in the next few years. Their team is not very young. I mean, look at that. Number of players over the age of 29 there. Will be interesting to see how they rebuild and how well the AI does. Anyway, I did talk about it before, but we did play one game since we were last here, and it was a league game. So let's have a quick look at the highlights of that. It was against Derby County, and Shvetsov with one of the best goals of his career, dare I say it. This first one, something truly very special. And, he got a goal from the penalty spot not long later. So a great little win there for us. Made even better by the fact that Norwich City, the team in second, you may have already noticed it, they got spanked by Liverpool at Anfield, which you love to see. I've said spanked very excitedly there. They've been in some really good form. They've actually kept so many clean sheets, Norwich. But that defeat there, maybe that can mark the beginning of the end of their title aspirations. Of course, they are a team with a media prediction of 10th. They currently sit second in the league. That was only their second defeat in the league season. Just to have a quick look at their team, because I realise it is worth looking. When they've got a team that's surprising like this one is, it's worth looking at it. So they've got this guy, Victor Manuel Reyes, who's only got 3 goals in 5 games. I think he's had a few little injuries, so he looks pretty good. He's their most kind of valued player. Their actual top goal scorer has been this guy, Rory Booth, who is a bit of an interesting character. 9 finishing, but amazing concentration. He looks to pass rather than attempt to score, but he's got 10 goals. So I feel like that does not make sense. Very, very quick, though. Very, very physical player. I'll be honest, I look at this Norwich team, and it kind of strikes me as a team that, while it has some very good players like Saka and players like Barella, real-world players who are not bad players by any means, this is a team that probably isn't not deserving, that isn't right. They do deserve to be where they are because they've put in the performances, but they're not a team that realistically I would expect to maintain a title push throughout the entirety of the year. They've got some good players, do not get me wrong, but ultimately, if you were to compare them like to like against some of the teams in and around them, including ourselves, I suppose, you'd say that they're not really title contenders. They lost most recently. If we can beat them again, it's going to be all kinds of problems. If we could beat them here, we would go 9 points clear of them, and potentially, well, not potentially, but 9 points clear of Manchester City as well. It is worth noting with Norwich, actually, they have beaten all the big boys. They've beaten Manchester United at home, they beat Chelsea at home, they beat Arsenal away, they drew against Man City. They have actually got the results against the big teams. It's not like their schedule has been really easy. So with that in mind, they're not going to be pushovers. They are not going to be an easy team to just roll over and kill. I mean, I say that. They've been our team that we kind of kill every year. And I say kill, and that might sound like a really aggressive word. But no, we do actually murder them. Like it's not, the head-to-head record is not particularly good in recent years for them. In fact, can we look at past results? I feel like there's a tab where you can just see all the past results against the teams. But maybe I'm wrong. If there is, I felt like it's one of these weird things. Most of the time, I know where I'm going in Football Manager. I'm now trying to think. I think there is a screen where you can see like a list of past results. Maybe it comes up just before you enter the game. Either way, I can tell you, and you'll just have to take my word for it, we've beaten them, I think, 8-1 before. We've beaten them 6-0 or 5-0 at the end of last season. Yes, it is away from home, but I feel like we should be winning this game relatively comfortably. You can see here, Shvetsov still on course to become the leading league appearance maker. Shuttleworth's record of 219 league appearances is in threat. I feel like at this point it's pretty safe to assume that Shvetsov is going to surpass that record and then potentially even just smash it even further. I mean, he's already got as many league goals this season as he got last season and almost the season before. It's been that kind of year. And the weird thing is, has anything really drastically changed that much? Not with him, I wouldn't say. I'd say it's more a case of the personnel behind him, the system behind him has really started to work. Of course, he did have that 33-goal season back when we played the 4-4-2 or 4-2-2-2 or 4-2-4, however you want to phrase it. Obviously, he had that crazy goal-scoring year, but that is borne out of the fact that we were just going completely gung-ho and playing far more attacking than perhaps we should be. Anyway, you can see in training here, some of the youngsters continuing to put in good performances. Volta looking very, very good, the 21-year-old. Steve Norman looking very, very good as well. Look how insane he is. I feel bad for him because he's doing so well in training, but it's difficult to find a spot for him in the first team with Turnbull and Shvetsov doing so well. And also Matasevic. Now, Matasevic, I was told by many people, he will never be a good centre-mid. Can we acknowledge the fact that he has turned into quite a good centre-mid? I know if I go, he's a great box-to-box midfielder, someone who's going to tap at the work rate and go shocking. I think with something like box-to-box midfielder, there's so many attributes needed. You kind of just have to accept that unless you have the world's best box-to-box midfielder, there's just kind of going to be a gap in their game. Obviously, we don't play with box-to-boxes anymore. We play with Mazzalas, which actually suits Matasevic even better. But his average rating across all competitions is way over a 7.0. And it's weird, right? It's easy to forget. Matasevic is a product of our academy, and he has been playing super regularly, which is really cool to be able to see. I want to, bring forward and bring through more youngsters like this guy. Obviously, when you think of youngsters at Towler, you probably think of Dylan Turnbull as the pinnacle, in terms of players we've brought through. But Matasevic is getting to a point now where he's turning into a really, really good quality player. And at 22 years old, he has still got a little bit of potential still to fulfill. I'm trying to think of other products of our academy, but really it is just those two right now in terms of players who have come through our intakes. I guess I have to mention Koval, otherwise it'd be a little bit mean. But of course he came through our academy as well. And now he just sits as our backup goalkeeper. What a life to live, eh? But anyway, we've rambled on long enough. We have a big, tasty game here. Do I want to just play the same team? You know what? I'm going to be controversial. I'm bringing back in Ox, and I'm not even going to put Rote on the bench, which is definitely controversial. I am going to quickly say to Marlon, you need to improve because he's not been very good recently. Sorry. You should take my criticism on right. I've changed my Rote. Back in the team, you go, mate. I don't want to be rude, Marlon. Don't want to be rude. You've had a 6.4 recently. You've not been good. You've not been great. You've not been terrible. You've just been bad, and bad is not good enough for me. Get back in the team. Sickening. Anyway, so it is just the team that played the last game. But the good news is, with the rest, they are feeling pretty match sharp. Looking at their team, they've got Booth, they've got Ben Salem, who I did look at. He looks very, very good. I'm surprised they're not playing him as a striker and then playing Booth in behind, but I guess that's just the way they want to approach things. I signed this guy from Manchester United for £13 million way back in the day. I wonder if Manchester United regret that now, because he's actually a really good player. But anyway, we're going to Carrow Road. Hopefully we can get a good little performance here. A win here, as we've already mentioned, is pretty huge. I wouldn't want to say the league is wrapped up, because I feel like it's going to be very, very difficult to maintain the level of performance that we've been putting in recently for the entire season, especially if we do get some pretty nasty fixture congestion. But I think when you look at things now, you'd have to say that if we win this game, it is our title to lose, if you weren't already thinking that, I suppose, because we are already in a very good position as Andre Breakthrough hits it wide off the mark. Keep doing that, Andre. Just keep missing those opportunities so teams get less interested in you. They'll think that you're not very good, and then you can start performing again after the January transfer window closes. Anyway, Andy Eric on it, tries to tuck it away. Davidson collects. They are playing quite deep, I've noticed here, Norwich. I guess that's how they've been doing so well this year, is hitting teams on the break. We will look to find the space in behind as Turnbull breaks through, needs to pull it back if he can. He holds it up really well there. Mateus Aurelio to Andy Eric, shifts it across to Matasevic, who hits it. And oh my word, what a lovely goal that is. We were just talking about him. We were just bigging him up. I'm sure many of you, when I said, is he better than Turnbull? You were rolling around in discomfort, squirming in your chairs, thinking, what is he on about? This is what I'm on about. Oh, it's beautiful. Keeper gets a hand to it. It's not enough. Andy Eric wheels away, celebrating the assist like it's the best thing he's ever done. But ultimately, 20 minutes gone. They've ballsed up their manager's ballsed up the team talk from what I could see. Although that ball was bending, wasn't it? Cock heads it over. Probably Kosh. I'm going to say Cock, it's funnier. He's headed over there. Anyway, they're going to look to play it out from the back here. What can they do? They go to Ferrero, or Ferro, not Ferrero. I want a Ferrero Rocher now, I'm hungry. Anyway, Kosh bringing it forward. Andre, win the ball, my friend. Look at him go. Look at him go. Spreads it to Shvetsov, turns it superbly. Oh my word. What a ridiculous goal that could have been. We've hit the woodwork. Norwich City right now look in a little bit of trouble. They are penned in their own half, really struggling. Although, I say all of this and now they're breaking through Richardson. He threads it through to Booth, who's their top goal scorer. But Morrigan says, no, I made a mistake last game. I'm going to make amends today. What a superb little save that is by him. Worth acknowledging, I suppose. Norwich are actually having a fair few shots. I feel like we've been having the better of the chances early on, although we've now had a few highlights their way, and now they've got a set piece. Can they score it? Yes. Yes, they can. What an insane free kick that is by Avila. I mean, he's just smashed it into the top corner. Can I blame Morrigan for that one? I'm going to say no. I think that's probably... No is probably the correct answer there. Anyway, it's 1-1 at the break. They are giving us a game here. And with them giving us a game, I'm going to get shouty. Who looks stressed? Andre. Stressed? Oh, you know what, Volta, get on the pitch. Get on the pitch. Andre, you were my favourite. I'm changing my tune very quickly. You little hard-working midfielder. Oh, no. Oh, no. Shvetsov injured. Potential arm injury. Oh, I hope that's not a fractured arm. Right, Norman. This is your moment. This is your chance. You and your magical little red headband need to prove us a point. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of distracted away from the game now. Let's hope that's not too serious an injury for Shvetsov. They're now hitting the woodwork here, although there was a free kick given. I'm trying to think, what arm injuries are there? It could be like a sprained wrist. It could be a fractured arm where we can give him protective equipment and he can still play. Oh, Andre, what have they done to my boy? Tell you what, Norwich are giving us a game here. They are actually creating a lot of chances. Although, we're winning the ball here to Norman, on off the bench. Look at him go. Run like the wind, Norman. Run, you pacey little Englishman. Finish it! Oh, I got very excited and I probably shouldn't have. That goes in about 1 in 10 times in Football Manager. Ferro out on the right, wide areas. Avila, the free kick goal scorer for them. Ball whipped in, headed away. Only as far as Reyes, who hits it on the... Morrigan. I think Morrigan just stopped responding. Can we reboot Morrigan? Just unplug him at the wall and plug him back in if we need to. What happened here? What happened? Morrigan. Let's just... Watch Morrigan. Comes out. Match fixing. It's the only logical explanation. Match fixing. We've been struggling in the last couple of minutes. I say the last couple of minutes. It's been a bit longer than that. But I've got a secret weapon, everyone. I've got a secret weapon that's going to win us this game. I'm doing it. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time to whip out this tactic, this formation. And I think now is the moment. Now is the moment. This is a little side gig I've been working on for a game where things didn't really work out. It is a tribute to our Leon Live formation that we used to use way back in the day when we would chase games. I say way back in the day. Leon Live was only on last year's Football Manager. But no, it's kind of what it looks like, really. It's a 4-3-3, but it's like about crowding out the midfield and really trying to harass and then break away quickly. Let's see if it can work out for us. I've been saving it for a rainy day. Today is that rainy day. Will this turn out to be our umbrella? I mean, nothing's happened. Nothing's happening. Go very attacking. Well, I'm just wet in the rain. It's finished 2-1 to Norwich City. And I mean, fair play to them. This is why they are where they are in the league. They are grinding out results and making themselves tough to beat. Matasevic gets man of the match. I don't feel like that's particularly great. Okay, what is the Shvetsov injury? Fractured wrist. Okay, this is what I thought it might be. So we can send him to specialist. He can wear protective equipment. What games have we got coming up? I guess that's a big killer thing here. Chelsea, Tottenham, and then January is coming thick and fast. If he's out for 3 weeks, he would be back for January. But the games against Chelsea and Tottenham are pretty big. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to get him to play through the injury with protective equipment. Hopefully that isn't going to aggravate it too much further. It's a bit more expensive. It will mean that the overall recovery time is a little bit bigger. Of course, the blessing that we've got actually is the fact that we've got so many good strikers. They can just kind of swap in for Shvetsov. If we're winning games by a couple of goals at half-time, say, I can just take him off with his protective equipment. But I feel like he's just too good not to be playing. 22 goals in 24 games kind of implies that, I think it's fair to say. And also, his value, 74 million. Yeah, it turns out he's pretty good after all. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up everything from me today. I do hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, a like would be super appreciated on it. Bit of a more rambly commentary today, bit of a longer one. Just as a little heads up, I am going to take a day off uploading tomorrow. In terms of when we'll be back, I know some people are probably going to want the Chelsea and Tottenham games. Chelsea up in third feels like a kind of significant game. I'm going to think about it. I may not do it, and the reason I may not do it is simply because we've done so many games recently that I kind of want to get a little bit quicker through the season. You know, maybe join mid-January where we've got Tottenham again in the league. Of course, we could find ourselves in the EFL Cup semi-final, which would be a welcome, although additional distraction to focus on. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you guys in a bit. Here's me, Jack. Enjoy your Sundays tomorrow, and I will see you on Monday. I'm out.